Hey everyone, this is Jay, also known as Jay Nemesis, over on eToro, where I trade as a popular investor. This is our weekly update for week 27 of our trading for 2018. Our weekly stats this week, we have a portfolio change of plus 2.29%, realized profit of plus 0.11%, and 5 trades were closed this week. Top news this week, there are rumors circulating about NVIDIA releasing their next generation of gaming processors for graphics cards. Obviously, it's been a while now since we last had an update, so the rumor mill has started. There's been a lot of speculation previously that they were going to delay it longer and longer and kind of stretch it out due to the number of sales that they've had from Bitcoin mining and things like that. But the rumor mill has started, so we're kind of keeping our eyes peeled. We're expecting it maybe perhaps around August, September. It's normally towards the middle of Q3 when they start to announce these kind of things. Next up, Augur have launched their mainnet. So Augur is a cryptocurrency that I'm super, super passionate about. It's a really, really cool project. Basically, it's a decentralized prediction market, which means that you can create a market for anything. So you can basically create a bet about anything. That's effectively how it works. You can create bets about who's going to win elections, who's going to win the World Cup, for example, if there's going to be substitutions, all these kind of things. So it's a decentralized betting / prediction market. Globally, and it was one of the first ICOs on Ethereum. Something I'm super, super excited about. Like, it looks really, really cool. Can't wait to try and use it. But that launched on the 9th of July, so hopefully I can test it over the coming week and maybe even write up a little blog post or something about it to kind of inform you guys. Finally, YouTube has been added as a defendant in the BitConnect lawsuit. So this is kind of an interesting move and could potentially even set the precedent for these kind of things in the future for scam ICOs and all sorts of stuff like that. The theory is that YouTube effectively had the knowledge that these guys were becoming pretty big YouTubers who are promoting BitConnect, and they also had the knowledge that it was likely a scam, and they didn't act and they didn't try and close down the channels or anything like that. So they've been added as a defendant, which is pretty interesting. It's also interesting because perhaps maybe to wiggle out of it, YouTube may end up giving some extra evidence. Obviously, they have all of the videos that were taken down by these YouTubers after the whole BitConnect thing collapsed. So, pretty crazy situation, but something interesting. I just kind of felt like I'd mention it in the news. Onto the crypto recap. So it's going to be a little bit bare today because there weren't too many trades this week, as you saw. I closed an EOS trade for 6% profit. Pretty happy with that. Basically waiting for it to head back down into like the $7.50, maybe even $7 range to pick up a bit more. But for the moment, I'm pretty happy with these couple of short-term trades I've been doing recently. The crypto market, I still think we're likely to go retest that 5K level, even though we rallied up to almost 7K on Bitcoin. Still think we're going to head back down, and obviously the altcoins will do the same. So, I'm remaining pretty cautious. I've still got lots and lots of money on the side at the moment that isn't invested. I say lots of money, like 10 to 15% of my portfolio, which is basically to make sure that we're able to take advantage of if that does happen in cryptocurrencies and in other stocks as well. Stock recap, Netflix, 1.2% profit from another single trade here. Obviously, Netflix are one of the first guys to be reporting their earnings soon. There's some interesting stuff going on. They're actually trialing a UHD premium service in a few areas of Europe at the moment. I haven't actually seen if it's in the UK or not. I haven't really checked, but it's not something that I actually really agree with. I mean, personally, I think it kind of leaves them open potentially to competition who would just give away their 4K content for free, such as Amazon, for example. Interesting regardless. I think they're going to have another good quarter. But the stock price appears to have already priced this in to a certain extent. So I actually closed this position at around 405, I think, and now the price is up to like 415. I've still got obviously a lot of other positions open, but certainly with how high it's going ahead of their earnings, I'm considering closing a few more positions ahead of earnings just because I think we're starting to get into perhaps some overbought territory. AMD, 2% trade again. So this is a 2-week-long trade. It's pretty simple trade, really. I was kind of watching it move up to the $16 level, which I thought would prove to be really strong resistance. Actually, it turns out that we have gone past that at the moment, at least. But certainly in the past, $16 has proven to be a very, very, very strong resistance level for AMD. So, yeah, I figured I'd close this out purely based on that and the RSI and a few other things. So, yeah, I'm not too fussed about missing out on a bit of extra profit, but still a couple more positions open, so yeah, we'll wait and see where it goes. I don't think I really plan on trading it until it heads down a bit further. It'll be interesting to see how their earnings goes this quarter, though, because last quarter was, I thought, a good earnings, but the market didn't react very well. So we'll see which way it goes. Shopify, another trade here, 4% profit. Again, there's not really too much to say about this one. I closed it ahead of the weekend because we've seen some drops in late trading on Fridays recently. So I figured that I would just kind of protect against that over the weekend. But seems okay. I've actually rebought the position since then. I think I closed it at like just around 160, and I've reopened it around 158. So we made a little bit of money there. Got ourselves a bit more stock for our money, so pretty happy with that. Amazon, last one. So Amazon, I haven't really traded very much recently. In fact, I've really not traded it since the market kind of dropped back in January. But Prime Day is ahead of us, coming up in a few weeks' time. In fact, about a week's time. So that's always a really, really interesting period. Last Amazon Prime Day, I was very, very disappointed with like just the quality of the stuff they had on there, and so was pretty much everyone. Again, obviously they do Prime Day more places than just the UK, but in the UK it was very, very lackluster, and it showed afterwards in their earnings for that period that Prime Day really wasn't as big a success as it had been in previous years. So that's something to watch out for. Obviously, they've got their earnings coming up soon as well, but they did strike a really nice deal with Formula One, which, as you guys know, I'm a fan of. They struck a deal with F1 TV to show F1 TV on Amazon Prime, which is a pretty big deal, I think, because the goal for F1 TV is to have somewhere in the region of 100 million viewers within the next couple of years. So obviously that's a pretty big move into sports by Amazon. So kind of an interesting development there. But for the moment, and remaining pretty cautious and not really dipping my toes in too much. I might buy one position ahead of earnings perhaps and see how it goes. But I think I'm more looking to get in after the earnings report from Amazon. So our realized trading stats, a bit of a boring week this week, guys. 5 trades closed, 5 of them profitable, which is always good. Average profit was 2.85%, and the total profit across the entire portfolio, realized profit was plus 0.11%. So not bad. It's always nice to be closing some nice green trades, but obviously with such a low quantity, it's not too much to scream and shout about this week. Again, still positive, so there's nothing to be really upset by. The reason the trading was so low is that it was obviously my birthday at the start of the week, and I have a twin brother as well, and it was our 30th birthday, so I had some like celebrations and stuff going on, and then he had some stuff going on, so I was away for the weekend, visiting him and a lot of the family and stuff. And then, of course, later on in the week, there was the British Grand Prix, which is the first time I've been to the British Grand Prix in years and years and years. And that was effectively like my celebrations. So, again, trying to get access to eToro and trying to find time between that and everything else that's going on. There's obviously other things going on in my life as well. But yeah, it all kind of meant that I didn't really have time to do the more short-term technical-based trading. So most of the trades that were closed here were pretty, mid-term to long-term kind of trades. That being said, we've got earnings coming up, so it's about to get really, really busy. So honestly, I'm kind of thankful for a little bit of a breather just before we kind of dive into that period of the year. So looking at the performance of the portfolio over the past few months and the past few weeks, we can see that recently we've turned it around a little bit. I mean, I think obviously our portfolio is very, very much guided by the influence of cryptocurrencies at the moment. I did go through a big cleansing period a couple of weeks ago of getting rid of a lot of legacy positions in Dash and a few other cryptocurrencies that I just don't think are going to recover as quickly as I need them to kind of keep you guys happy. And I feel like there's better opportunities elsewhere. So I closed a few of those positions. We're currently below the price I closed pretty much all of those at, I think. So currently it looks like a good decision on my part. But as you can see, last 2 weeks have been pretty decent. Obviously, week 27 plus 2.29%. Is pretty nice, but a lot of that is just due to cryptos rallying. So expect that expect to potentially have a minus 1 or 2% week at some point before the end of July. Looking forward, earnings calls are coming up. As I said, I mentioned that a few times. August is pretty much when it's really going to kick off, but there are quite a few in July. So I think probably like 6 or 7 in July at least that I'll be listening to and digesting and kind of trading based off of it. If you don't hear me talking too much about it, it's probably because I'm busy listening to other ones. So this is a period where sometimes I do kind of slip on these weekly reports and stuff and perhaps don't dig quite so deep into some of the news articles because I'm really just trying to focus on understanding every earnings report for all of the companies that I'm trading to make sure that our portfolio is in the best position that it can be. So if I go a little bit quiet for 2 or 3 weeks during that period, please don't worry. It's just basically me concentrating on trading effectively. Next up, big BIP, Bitcoin Improvement Proposal, has been submitted. This is using new technology which effectively basically improves multi-sig. So if you're doing transactions to multiple addresses or from multiple addresses to the same address and things like that, this should make it much more efficient. I'm hoping to write a little post on eToro or my blog, or maybe both, about this and kind of explain it a bit. But yeah, I'll hopefully explain that over the coming week. And finally, my Q2 trading report should be ready by the end of this week, touch wood. I'm pretty excited about some of the things in it. Obviously, it's not all not all roses because obviously we're still further down this quarter than where we started originally, but not by very much. And it's I think it's going to be an interesting report for reasons that will become clear when you read it. So I'm going to push this one a bit more than I did the last one because I don't know how many people actually read the last one, and I genuinely think that the information that me and Jesse pull out of my trading history and my stats and kind of compile here is really, really interesting and something that, especially if you're copying me long term, you should really be looking at. So it takes it's not a massive post or anything. It maybe takes you like 10-15 minutes to read. So just give it some time when it is released, and please read it because I genuinely think that it will really help you understand my trading and what's been going on in a slightly more macro sense than these weekly updates. That's it for this week, guys. Thanks again for watching and for reading the post. Again, always open to questions, so feel free to write them in the comments. And I'll see you next week.